BTMreview.com here with the Behind the Mask podcast, talking a little John Carpenter. I'm Aaron with Todd / Riverman and Clark.
Hey.
What's up, man?
How you doing, Todd?
Pretty good, man. Been busy. Haven't really been around a whole lot lately, but now that I'm done with school, I'm jumping back on board. Hopefully get some hobos out and some other podcasts.
Yeah, the Hobo podcasts are awesome. John Carpenter, some of his stuff might fall under a category there, but it's a really good time to be back because have you seen the big update? I mean, obviously I talked about it on the website and whatnot about the remake of Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, and a lot of people are butthurt over it, and at first,
okay. We're going to be at words here in a second.
Well, no, the thing is, at this point, they've remade every fucking movie that I really don't give a shit anymore. So they already buried my favorite movie of all time, which is Dawn of the Dead, into the ground. So at this point, anything goes.
Well, I mean, it seems like Carpenter in particular has taken a beating lately. I mean, we're going to have the Escape from New York remake, obviously the Big Trouble remake. We had, even though they dubbed The Thing a remake, it was actually a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
Clark didn't like it. You know what? I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't hate it because, I mean, at least it wasn't. At least they attempted to prequel, and it wasn't doing the same thing as the Kurt Russell movie.
No, and it wasn't too bad. I mean, there were some people that were really putting it over, and it's definitely worth a watch, at least a red box, in my opinion.
I just found it completely forgettable. After I saw it, I just didn't even feel like I watched a movie. It's something I've completely almost forgotten. I can hardly remember the movie at this point, and that's a shitty movie.
Yeah. Well, the characters were nowhere near as likable. Obviously the transition from probably the greatest practical effects in history. I mean, what they did in the original, Carpenter's Thing will never be done again. And then they totally just went the route of CG. I mean, it was a giant, computer game. And not to mention, God, that prequel had shit tons of plot devices that drove me crazy. Like, you could see a million miles away. Like, I wonder why they gave him an earring. Could that come into place later? Like, when he's, I saw all those little things a million miles away. But anyway, and I know there's more. Obviously, Halloween, Rob Zombie did what he did with that. I didn't hate the Rob Zombie Halloween. I guess I appreciated they did something different with it. Halloween 2. I thought it was a big pile of shit.
I loved it.
He loves it. What do you think, Clark?
I think there's a good movie in there, and I feel like when you really pay attention to Halloween 2, knowing what I know about the Halloween series, specifically the producers who don't really, the Akkad, Mustafa Akkad, they don't, Michael Myers just something they own that they want to get money out of, and they are notorious kind of for saying no, put more kills in it, and I feel like somebody was breathing down Zombie's neck saying, put another kill in it. Specifically that scene outside of the strip club where he's stomping on that guy's head. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's Zombie going, fuck you, you want a death? Here you go. Fuck you.
That was Francis from Pee-wee, right? The club owner?
Yeah.
You'll pay for this, Pee-wee. But I don't know. See, I think I took it a different way than you did. I thought it was definitely... Hey, I had a huge hit on my hands with the first one. I compensated a little bit. It was definitely a Rob Zombie movie. Clearly, he got his way in casting his shitty cast and his shitty wife.
It's funny because
Danny Trejo. I was good to you, Mikey.
He everybody hates on the second one, but I actually like it better than the first one. So the zombie film.
I feel like what he was trying to do is what he did with Devil's Rejects, which was, okay, it gets permission to do a sequel, I'll just make another movie that I want. And I think he wanted to make a different movie than was on screen, and it was pretty compromised. I understand there's a director's cut. I haven't seen that director's cut, but I think there was a good movie at some point with that one.
There was clearly something there because if you guys remember, he swore up and down, I'm not doing Halloween 2. The first one's he's like, I'm not doing it. First of all, he said, I'm not going to do any more remakes. First of all, before Halloween, he wasn't going to do remakes. Then money talked, and he did that. Then, of course, he justified it. It's a reimagining. He started, not a remake. And then, I'm not doing Halloween 2. I got to do other things. He's like, and then it's like, no more remakes. Then he's like, I'm going to do The Blob. okay, what happened to no more remakes? Then the Blob didn't happen. Then Halloween 2 actually happened. They threw enough money his way. But I mean, I took it as, hey, you know what? It was such a success in your hands the first time around. We'll give you a little bit more creative freedom, a la Tim Burton, Batman Returns, and it was just a big stab fest. I didn't see anything to it. I mean, the whole white horse fucking metaphor was stupid as shit.
Well, that's what I was saying. He might have had a better film in there, and somebody was like, "You got to do this shit." That's just what I got from the movie.
How can we make it more brutal? We're gonna have Michael Myers grunt while he kills. Because you notice that he was totally silent the first one. I don't know, but not to get too derailed on that though. Carpenter has definitely been put through the ringer as far as remakes go. So anyway, with the news of Big Trouble in Little China, supposedly starring The Rock of all people, who's very charming by the way. I just don't think. Not for it's too hard. I don't know. Is he gonna play Jack? I guess he's gonna play the Jack Burton. It's not like they're redoing the characters. And the thing is about Jack Burton was he was sort of your John Wayne. You know, he talked the big tough guy talk and all that shit, but he was a bumbling idiot. Yeah. He wasn't like
he doesn't do a fucking thing in that movie.
No, it's his sidekick. It's his little
Other than his truck running over the ghost of Lo Pan in the beginning. He affects the plot 0.
Well, and then I can't see them. First of all, casting somebody like The Rock, willing to put down that much money, it's going to cost him, and him not be the hero. It's going to be a different take. It has to be.
I think The Rock would be game for it, but I'm an unapologetic Rock fan.
See, I'm a Rock fan too, and I think he'll do anything. I think he'll make anything watchable. I just, I don't know if they're going to go this far. He might as well just do an overhaul. I don't know how he's going to be the same character. But anyway, let's talk John Carpenter. He's had a storied career, a ton of cult classics, you know, a lot of shit too, I got to say. And, you know, he hasn't been directing a lot. His last movie was in 2010. It was called The Ward and it had Amber Heard in it. Wasn't too good. And before that was like 05 and 06. He did a couple of those Master of Horror anthologies. Yeah. I absolutely hated Pro-Life, but I love fucking Cigarette Burn.
Cigarette Burn is awesome.
Cigarette Burn was good.
Udo Kier. I had nightmares about Udo Kier alone. Like, I didn't have to have nightmares about Freddy Krueger or just Udo Kier coming to my house for dinner. He looked like he was just going to molest me.
Norman Reedus' best role, if you ask me.
Yeah, it was pre-Walking Dead, so I guess you weren't tainted. But anyway, I mean, from the top, he's had so much shit. I mean, obviously, it's easy to start with River. Why don't you tell us about Assault and Precinct 13? You're a big fan of that one, right?
Yeah, you know what? I have mixed things on this film. I've seen it a handful of times now. It came out in '76, and it was basically a gang that was taking over a precinct. And you know what? It was actually made for $100,000, which is pretty impressive for what it was. I mean, it was a kind of low-budget exploitation film from the 70s. But it's a solid film. It's not a great film. I mean, the effects and everything were, you know, pretty shoddy because of the it pretty much looks like, you know, paint splatter, you know, paintballs and everything like that. But the good thing was their like the score they had, like they have like the same score played over and over. Really fucking cool, man. I'd highly recommend checking that out too. This is definitely a one-off. Like, I would check it out if you're a fan of Carpenter. I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but I do go back to it every so often and watch it. It's inspired by Night of Living Dead, which I have heard of quite a bit. Which is pretty cool, you know, Romero and everything like that. But it was a flop in the box office. But overall,
a lot of his early movies were.
Yeah, it was, and a lot of them were. And they came back, and I think they just put this out. God, I want to say like Scream Factory put this out recently on Blu-ray.
They did, like last year. Yeah.
I haven't seen that copy yet. I checked it out on Netflix again. I mean, it looks, you know, decent for 1976, but. I do want to check it out on Blu-ray just to see the special features and everything.
Well, and that's another one I forgot to mention was remade with John Travolta. Yes.
Oh.
Like, what was that, 5 years, 6 years?
That's right.
Clearly we all forgot about it, but it just, as soon as I mentioned it, it came back to mind. Who else is in that damn movie? But he's been put through the ringer, like every fucking...
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
That's who started it.
It was Travolta too, right?
No, Lawrence Fishburne, Ethan Hawke.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just secretly want Travolta and everything, all the shit. But are you savvy with Assault?
You know what? That is one movie, for some reason, Carpenter movie I've never seen. For some reason, it always felt like homework to me. I don't know why. I just
It does straddle that line of exploitation. Is that your?
I don't, like I said, I don't know why I've seen it. I love exploitation, but I just never went back and watched it.
You mentioned the soundtrack, Todd. That's what I love about those old Carpenter flicks, and Assault, even Halloween, and like Escape from New York.
Yeah.
They all have that very late '70s, early '80s soundtrack. You know, where it's like all synth.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You know, I mean, I know Carpenter produced Halloween 3, but I think he still did the music for Halloween 3. I might be wrong on that, but it all has that same kind of that creepy vibe, if you know what I'm talking about. And I love it, man. That and like almost a noir type feeling, and the cheesy effects and the backdrops are clearly painted on or something. I don't know, something like Assault and Escape from New York. But
it was definitely a good movie for what it was made for. $100,000.
$100,000. I don't know what that inflates to, but that's not a lot of money.
No.
So that's insane. And all this stuff was pretty shoestring budget. That's a good way to segue into Halloween. Anybody remember what that budget was? It couldn't have been a lot.
I want to say 15 for some reason, but that's just a number that popped in my head, and that could be complete bullshit. So
I hope it's not more than 15, but I mean, it's easy to say Halloween's the greatest John Carpenter film. I think it's kind of tough between that and New York, but
we might differ on this.
okay, well, feel free to interrupt.
Oh, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say The Thing, but...
Oh, The Thing. Well, it's tough between me and The Thing, too. I forgot. Like I said, he's done a shitload of stuff. But starting from Halloween obviously had probably the biggest impact out of any of these things, just because it single-handedly started a whole new genre.
yeah, well, that's why I wouldn't say it's the best Carpenter, but it's definitely in contention for the most influential. I have another one that I think is the most influential Carpenter movie that we'll talk about when we get to it. But I mean, it creating essentially the slasher genre. I mean, what's more influential than
There would be no Friday the 13th without Halloween.
And what would I have done when I was a kid?
Yeah. Friday the 13th, they literally, said New Line Cinema or whoever, hey, we got to make our Halloween movie. We got to rip off Halloween. We got to have a mass killer. And sadly went on to become even more successful. But because that's a different story. I'm not the hugest fan of the Friday the 13th series. Omit a couple installments. But yeah, I mean, Carpenter's one of these guys where he's not a Wes Craven. He's not. He did a lot of things. He didn't just do horror. He's synonymous with the Halloween name. So people are going to lump him in with these guys like Tobe Hooper or Wes Craven. But, Escape from New York is a totally different animal. Assault's a totally different animal.
He's more like a Cronenberg than a...
Yeah, he is. That's a good way of putting it.
I would honestly say that John Carpenter is the most American filmmaker, period, because he everything just seems to be about getting shit done. Like, it's just very kind of like, he's like a working class filmmaker in the sense that it's just like, let's just get to the fucking point. Yeah, he has like, his scores are really stripped down and simplistic, but it's like, this is supposed to be eerie music, like as simple as possible, and that's the great thing about Carpenter. I think he's just an American filmmaker.
Well, and he also has that DIY attitude too.
What's more American? Like classically American, like the idea of what America is, like just hardworking dude, just get the shit done.
I admired him for being a composer too. There's not how many directors can you think of that are also composers? I can't think of any, especially ones that have made a name for himself like him. And that's just something I'm into personally as well. So kind of a personal inspiration in that regard. And not to mention how many people weren't using orchestral scores back then?
Yeah.
Like I said, that whole DIY, writing stuff on a piano or a keyboard in his own home.
Well, that's the thing. He's like, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
It feels like he's just one of those guys.
But no, Halloween is something special. I mean, I'm not the biggest slasher guy. I think it's just like music. There's a handful of great artists or movies in almost every genre. I can't say I'm a diehard at any genre. Slashers, Halloween, I don't want to get too much into like Halloween 2 and 3 because those are just produced by Carpenter, but I fucking love Halloween 2 more than a lot of people do.
Oh, I do. I like Halloween 3 a lot better than 2.
Well, and I love 3. It's
I love Halloween 3, like hands down. Like people's always, and it's gotten respect finally. Like people have come around, but I've always been like, how the fuck is this not your favorite Halloween movie? Like kids' heads explode into spiders and snakes. Fucking awesome.
Oh, and it's got some great performances, man. I love the characters in Halloween 3.
It's such an insane plan.
And it's asinine. And everybody knows the story of Halloween. I don't know if we have to get into that. Obviously, they were going for that anthology thing. You know, Michael Myers, that book was closed in the first one. He was gone. Let's do a new idea. Or no, they finished it off with part 2. Let's do something new. We fucking hate it. And then they brought him back. And, you know, I like Halloween 4 okay. 5 is, but I could do without 4 onward, you know.
I think I want to do a fan edit of Halloween 4 and 5 where I just take the scenes with Loomis and Jamie and recut it into a movie about like some decrepit old man like terrorizing a little girl a monster that's never gonna come. That'd be a scary fucking movie.
You know, I gotta say, Halloween 2 though, like I said, that movie sort of set a precedent in the way a sequel should be because the kills are more extravagant, they're more gruesome.
Yeah.
You know, the first one's super.
Well, because the first one, like going back to the first one, like everything with that movie, it's all subtext about a girl afraid of sexuality, afraid of boys, afraid of like making that leap, and then all of a sudden this giant man with a huge fucking knife that is obviously a phallic symbol comes in stabbing, and it's all about penetration and stabbing, like every kill. You get the second. Let's get with the exotic kill. Isn't there like a kill in the
hot tub? The hot tub. Oh, which I want to find this hot tub that exists that can get up to 1,000 degrees. Like why even make a setting like that?
An option.
Why even have that? Like it's like making the entire right half of that dial with a red. Do not. You're going too far. Like just don't fucking put it there. And then it reminds you of one of those old Bugs Bunny cartoons where he's getting cooked in the fucking witch's cauldron, cutting the carrots.
It's like a bad taste.
Yeah. And yeah, so they I don't know if you remember Riverman. He turns up the heat super hardcore. He kills the boyfriend first, and then he turns up the heat and comes back and starts getting her a massage. Obviously, and thinks it's the boyfriend, starts licking his fingers. I don't know about you, but I would know. I would just have to touch my girlfriend or whoever's hand. I'd be like, this is weird. You don't taste like you. She's tasting this dirty-ass mechanic murdering fingers. And then, he starts just dipping her head in the hot water. And every time she comes up, her face
a little bit more
looks a little bit more and more like it's covered in fucking fried chicken skins.
He just got Colonel Chicken and just taped it on there.
But between that and the uses of, like, scalpels and the syringe in the temple... and getting shot in the eyes, even, Loomis.
Yeah.
Or fucking... Yeah, Loomis. The best fucking shot I've ever seen in my life. Was it Loomis or was it fucking Jamie Lee Curtis who shot in the eyes, Todd?
I think it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
I can't remember. Okay, either way.
It's upping the ante from the hangar.
Yeah. And she's like the greatest shot known to man.
Yeah.
Didn't even pierce the mask, man. Went right through the little holes and everything. And
then he grows his eyes back.
And then they really wanted him dead. Because he got caught on fire, they showed him burning, and he was just all kinds of stuff, and I don't know. I think at that point, he really was probably intended just to be a human, a crazy psycho. And then it's like, oh man, we got to bring him back. So the fans want him. We got to write in this whole shitty demon sacrifice thing. Did you guys ever see Curse of Michael Myers?
Curse
Which
of
one was that?
Curse of Michael Myers is great.
Oh, no.
Because Paul Rudd's in it,
Yeah.
And in retrospect, like the actor we know him as now is kind of like just the straight guy, like reacting to weird shit around him. It seems like he's playing a comedic role now, and when he tries to deliver these lines, like Michael Myers lived down from my street. I'll tell you what happened with Mikey Myers. Like his delivery, it's like
it's hard to take.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's hard to take 100% seriously from me. But he played Tommy, the grown-up version of the little boy she was babysitting. But no, that the thing that drives me I don't want to stay on it too long because believe me, it just keeps getting worse from here if we stay on the Halloween trail. Yeah. But the thing that drives me the craziest about the Curse of Michael Myers is. Well, for one, it's not canon. After that, when they brought in H2O, they decided to ignore that. Yeah. It was a straight sequel from the first and second one.
There's no Thorn or...
No, 4 or 5, it didn't exist, which is crazy, man. I'm not used to horror alternate timelines. But No, in 6, they recast Jamie, the little girl.
Yeah.
And they do such a bad job at fucking telling you. So, like, the whole first 30 minutes, I'm like, who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is that? And somewhere along the line, they probably make a mention of it. I'm like, that was her?
Well, in the producer's cut of that movie,
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Michael Myers rapes Jamie to give her the baby. So Michael Myers is his uncle, daddy's
Yeah.
fourth removed.
Because she's given birth to the kid at the very beginning. She's underground and wherever the hell they were keeping Michael Myers. And, I mean, it was just more or less implied. I don't remember how much they showed of it, you know. But
In the producer's cut, they lay it out pretty simply.
But it gets weird, man. But anyway, the original Halloween, quite an impact. Such an impact that they made a shit ton of shitty sequels, as they do. As they do with any movie as good as, like, Hellraiser and Leprechaun. I'm just kidding. Nightmare on Elm Street, they're going to ruin it with a bunch of sequels. But, you know, coming off of Halloween, he did arguably the best. You mentioned it earlier. Yeah, Kurt Russell was sort of like Leo DiCaprio is to Scorsese now, to Carpenter back then. And he did The Thing, which was obviously a remake from a much older film, but it was a much different film. It was a complete overhaul. But The Thing was amazing. I mean, it was ahead of its time in so many different ways. It had an ensemble cast just about as likable as like the ensemble cast from Alien. And that's why a movie like Alien is so strong. You fucking love all those characters. You feel when they all get killed. And the same thing with The Thing. And, you know, you don't have Sigourney Weaver, but you got Kurt Russell's character, and he's just, I don't know. I don't know. When I was a kid, I used to walk around with an eye patch pretending I was Snake Plissken, and then I would I would pretend I was in The Thing as well, because I loved Kurt Russell and I loved those movies. But ahead of its time in the form of special effects, it still hasn't been topped to this day.
The special effects are probably the greatest thing. I mean, even to this day, I think they're probably the best special effects in a film.
Like I said, I'm a big Alien freak, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to The Thing just because they utilize it a lot more in The Thing. The Alien was all about subtlety, but Alien was incredible too. But The Thing, man, it has been the morphing scenes and it's pretty crazy.
Was that Rob Bottin, I think, did the special effects for that? Which I actually think, I want to say that he's actually retiring now from making special effects, which is kind of crazy.
I haven't heard his name around in a long time. I would have assumed he already retired.
Yeah. So,
But that was your thing, River. You were big onto the special effects growing up.
yeah. And some of those scenes are just fantastic. I mean, Kurt Russell in that is amazing. That's probably in my top 5 favorite horror films of all time, I would say. Maybe, or top 5 favorite films of all time.
And it's definitely up there in the much smaller pool of horror, sci-fi, that whole blend.
You guys are leaving out Wilford Brimley.
No, I was about to bring up Wilford Brimley.
His diabetes.
I was going to bring out Wilford Brimley because, you know what? If there's only 2 Wilford Brimley roles you need to remember, no, it's not fucking Platoon. Or sorry, fucking Cocoon. Not Platoon. That would have been a way different movie. Like he's dancing around on one foot like fucking Kevin Bacon's brother. No, but not Cocoon, but obviously this movie, The Thing, and Hard Target. John Woo's Hard Target, John Claude Van Damme, where he gives the most fucking awful Cajun accent you've ever heard in your life. But no, Wilford Brimley was awesome in the movie, and yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about it. It's the setting too, the cinematography, the whole the winter Alaskan setting was incredible. And it truly was scary, man. I mean, because like I said, Alien, I keep going back to Alien because I think they're very similar in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. It's all about that isolation. Alien, obviously, they were in outer space and the ship confined. And here, they were still where nobody could hear you scream. And this time, you add in the cold factor, which I can only imagine. When you watch The Thing, it puts you right in the movie. Can you imagine? I hate being frigid fucking cold, in the Midwest, where I'm from. I can't imagine being up there in that kind of cold while dealing with, the whole, it's kind of like the whole, and then there was none, that whole fucking story of, which one of us is the killer, you can't trust anybody thing. Then you have that paranoia in place, which, for any good movie, scary, thriller, action, you got to have something in place that keeps the action going. You think of movies like Escape from New York, he's got the fucking things that are going to kill him.
It's a ticking time.
Yeah, you got to have the constant ticking time bomb that keeps it going. And Escape from L.A., he had the poison or whatever, the venom. And in this movie, I always considered it was, you never know what's around your shoulder. There's always fucking somebody and you don't know who to trust. And so it really fired off on all cylinders there. And like I said, from a geek standpoint, I just loving the gore and the effects and everything. It's a pretty flawless movie. But yeah, and go ahead.
No, I just want to say you jumped over Escape from New York because that came out prior to that.
I know. I fucking fuck. You know what? I gotta be honest. We were kind of talking about this shit before we actually started recording, so my mind's all over the place.
That's all right, man.
It's good. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So we're gonna get there.
All right.
But yeah, like I said, Kurt Russell was wanting to shake off the Disney image because up until
he was a Disney kid.
He was a Disney kid. He was a little kid, man. And
the Cat from Outer Space.
Yeah,
movies like that he was in that.
He guest starred on a few episodes of Gilligan's Island back in the day as like an island boy, a white island boy. But
dude, my wife and I a couple months ago were like, oh, let's watch some Gilligan's Island, and like, I'm not incredibly PC, but even I was like, this is offensive. The natives, like, how can they air this?
Oh my God, Bob Denver looked like a modern day lesbian. I mean, and Skipper never lost weight, even though they were on a diet of strictly coconuts.
That's like Hurley on Lost.
Yeah. But so up until Escape from New York, the story I've heard is that John Carpenter wanted to shake the pretty boy, clean cut Disney image, so he was all on board. And Carpenter, he was his number one pick. And he got financial backing on the basis that Halloween was such a big hit. And so, the studios gave him money, but since they had most of the pull, they didn't want Kurt Russell in the lead. Because, I guess they felt it was a little bit of a liability because he was that Disney kid. They wanted Charles Bronson.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude.
Oh, I kind of knew you were going to say that. They wanted Charles Bronson, and I forget the other person, but it was... Oh no, Tommy Lee Jones or Charles Bronson. That's who they wanted. Tommy Lee fucking Jones.
We wouldn't be talking about this movie if either of them.
No.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I still talk about his portrayal as Two-Face.
No, we don't.
The Death Wish.
It's Jack Nicholson impression.
Death Wish movies are some of the best movies, man.
Well, and see, Carpenter was trying to make his Death Wish. Death Wish was a big hit for what it was back in the day, and he basically was inspired by Death Wish and the sort of social commentary that movie represented. And he's like, I want to do the same thing, but, kind of put it through this filter in the future and everything else. But he was trying to emulate that. So, I think I heard the reasons why he was against Charles Bronson, and he put his foot down firm on Kurt Russell, was A, that it was mainly because he was too old. And B, he said Charles Bronson was an established big star, and he didn't want to lose fucking control during the shooting, because he's probably used to that. He never mentioned the fact that, I'm trying to make a movie akin to this movie that he's famous for. I probably don't want to put that star in there. He didn't mention that, but I could only assume that's probably it too. But I can't imagine, man, fucking, this ain't over. Call me Snake. Call me Pliskin. Hey. I just always fucking think of the Simpsons episode where they
I wish I was dead.
they take the wrong turn into Bronson instead of Branson.
Oh no, they didn't. It's like
they did it again.
Coming on tonight, Death Wish 6, and it's just him in a hospital bed going, I wish I was dead.
Well, there's the episode, I think it was the one where Bart and hijacked the car with Milhouse and Nelson, and they wanted
and Nelson's like, Andy Williams.
Yeah. Like, we're not stopping. Oh, yes, we are. No, but they want to go to the World's Fair in Tennessee, and they were passing through Branson, and no, God, it was a different. Okay, they went to Branson, but that's not the episode. There was another episode where the Simpsons were going to go to. They made fun of Branson fucking a lot, and I'm from that neck of the woods, but they were going to go on vacation. And they had pretty much run the tap out. They didn't know where to go, and they're looking through this fucking brochure, and it's like, so you settled for Branson. And then they're on their way to Branson because they were looking for fucking Grandpa. Grandpa disappeared, and they took a detour into Bronson instead of Branson. Everybody looked like fucking Charles Bronson. There was the fucking mom pushing her baby with a Charles Bronson face, and the baby, this ain't over. It's fucking retarded, man, but I absolutely loved it. But, yeah, man, Escape from New York, he did that, and obviously it was a big hit for him because, he still did a bunch of, cheesy romantic comedies after that, like Overboard, but those movies are great.
Oh, I love Overboard.
But my mom was apparently had a huge crush on Kurt Russell, because I've seen pretty much every Kurt Russell movie that came out in the 80s, my mom took me to that movie. Like,
Yeah.
she took me to Big Trouble when I was like 7.
I bet she didn't like that one, did she?
Oh, she still liked
She
it.
loved it?
Yeah.
Because my mom was the same way. She had a crush on Kurt Russell, but doesn't like fucking Big Show. She doesn't like those weird movies.
Yeah, no, she
ain't fancy.
But yeah, Overboard was her favorite.
Overboard's a good movie. You know, I fucking love Captain Ron. These family movies. And it's like, hey,
And I stand by Sky High being an awesome fucking movie.
I've yet to watch it.
It's a good movie. You should.
I want to
check
say
it out.
maybe it's on Netflix. Maybe
No,
not.
it's not.
Not anymore.
I don't think so.
But no, I definitely want to watch it. Well, he went through a few years where I think it might have looked like he wasn't getting work, but he literally was taking a step back. He wasn't acting very much. He wasn't taking projects. And I remember Sky High was one of those movies where's he been in like fucking 8 years?
Well,
type things.
how much money do you really need at some point? Just do what you want.
But now he's making a comeback. Now he's, I don't know what it is now, because I'm not really a big fan of those Furious movies, but even I'm intrigued to see the latest Fast and Furious movie, because now it's like, wow. No, I know you're going to get pissed at me, but I'm saying, like, I'm pretty sure it's empty and shallow in a popcorn movie, but what popcorn movie isn't to a degree? But now it's like with this new one, the good cast is starting to eclipse what was once a bad cast. Paul Walker's dead. I'm sorry. That's horrible, but, you know, he's not in the movie. He's a horrible actor. God rest his soul. And now they've added The Rock. Now they've got Jason Statham. They got fucking Tony Jaa on Bach. Motherfuck. And then they got...
Tony Jaa's in that?
Tony Jaa's the new one.
Yeah, I'll see it then.
Tony Jaa, Jason Statham, you got The Rock, and Kurt Russell, and, you know, you still got to do a Vin Diesel. But you know what? Vin Diesel is only as... I think he's mostly bad because the company he keeps, so it's like I can deal with him in this.
No, that is totally not true. He's just plain bad. Dude, his acting's fucking...
It's not good, but like I said, it's
an
eclipsed.
abortion
There's
on
enough
screen,
good
dude.
people in these movies now that I kind of, it's like, I gotta see a movie with Tony Jaa and Jason Statham. But anyway, so he's gonna return for the next one of that franchise, and then of course he's gonna be in Tarantino's Hateful Eight. You know, God bless Tarantino for bringing him back, even though you know.
Well, he brought him up before that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad he brought him back after the abortion. That was that. The movie was okay, but you know nobody saw it. Nobody saw the Grindhouse thing.
I liked him.
Well, you know, I did too. And Riverman at the time, you liked Death Proof a lot
I
better.
still like Death Proof better.
Yeah, and see, at first I didn't, but now I do.
Yeah.
And I was admittedly not the biggest savvy guy on like car exploitation back then. That was, you know, your Vanishing Points, your Race to the Devil. That was River here. And but no, since then I've grown a love for it, and I still think it drags a little bit.
It does drag, but
the beginning and that fucking end, the payoff is awesome.
Anything, it's better than anything Robert Rodriguez will ever do because he's a shit actor or shit director. So
Yeah, he hasn't done anything good since
Desperado.
I like Once Upon a Time Mexico, even though it's a fucking Escape from LA type. Hey, let's make a parody of what I did before. But yeah, he hasn't made a good movie in a long time. But no, Stuntman Mike, if you would have had a character that was written, you know, not as well, it would have sucked. And if you would have had anybody that couldn't handle like Kurt Russell did, it wouldn't have been nearly as good. So he carried it. But anyway, I'm stoked for Hateful Eight. Anyway, I'm stoked that he's back in the game now. But Escape from New York, that's another movie that was made on a shoestring budget, relatively. It was made for about $6 million. But I think it turned over like 25, which is a big hit in their eyes. But I can't even tell it cost $6 million. It looks cheap as shit, in a good way.
I love late 70s, early 80s, anything in New York City. You know,
They filmed it in St. Louis.
Warriors, even Big with Tom Hanks, like that scuzzy New York feeling, like the unsand.
Back in the days when Times Square was the prostitution cocaine capital, you didn't want to go there. Now it's Disney.
Yeah.
Now you can go there overnight and it's okay, but back then it was like Home Alone 2. Looking for someone to tell you a bedtime story?
I'm walking here.
Fucking whores everywhere and just burn ladies in the fucking park.
It has the Running Man feel to me. I don't know. That's why I like it.
The Running Man feel, that's a good
Yeah.
movie too.
I could see that comparison. They just have that like that cheap sci-fi feel, but it's still even though it looks cheap, it successfully builds a world that you buy into completely, and that's the genius of that movie.
Just the concept of it. is awesome. You know, we're going to turn Manhattan Island into a closed off. Let's basically do what, you know, the Brits did to Australia back in the day. But it's just a really cool idea, man. We're just like, it's kind of like something like that fucking Purge movie that came out. Let's throw all the heathens on an island. Let's just let them fucking fend for themselves and eat each other and do whatever they got to do. And essentially, let's send this guy to rescue the president. Even that itself is so fucking cliche. It's awesome. You know, let's go send him into this jungle to go rescue the president, which, by the way, Donald Pleasance is awesome in that, even though he doesn't really get to flex his acting chops as much as in Halloween, but seeing him in that fucking wig, dressed like the woman, cracks my shit up. But no, they filmed that in St. Louis, East St. Louis. Didn't even film it in New York. Way too expensive. And East St. Louis, just over the
same.
Yeah, well, just over the river from, you know, obviously the more prosperous St. Louis. But East St. Louis was a huge portion of it was burned down back then. And they literally, East St. Louis is dirt cheap. It's the ghetto. It's dangerous, you know. But they went there and it just looked like the fucking wasteland they wanted. It's like there's like these burnt down fucking burgs and these warehouses. And it just, that, I think that's why a lot of the backdrops look fake, you know. You got like the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
But it adds to that charm you were talking about. But yeah, other than that, it was.
They should start shooting in Detroit now. Like, pretty cheap set there.
Yeah. But anyway, it's arguably my favorite between The Thing and between Halloween. I love that one, and it's just I don't give a fuck about your war. This guy, he's just cool, man. He was the anti-hero. He's the same reason why I love John Rambo. Snake Plissken's the anti-hero. He's not like John Rambo, but Snake Plissken's a borderline asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Okay, could somebody tell me why he fucking just tore apart the tape at the end, other than to be an asshole and to make his little statement? You know, because he approaches Donald Pleasance. You know, a lot of people died rescuing you, type of thing. I just want to know how you feel about that. Oh yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, shrug it off. I got to do my little press conference thing, and I don't know. I mean, wasn't that tape supposed to be valuable? I mean, wasn't it supposed to? He doesn't give a shit about nuclear warfare. I kind of miss that. Is he just being an asshole?
Probably all of the above.
All the above? I don't know. But I know it's not exactly in order, but I want to talk about Escape from LA. Just to follow it up.
You go right ahead.
And you don't like this movie, you don't remember one or the other. It's good for what it is. It's a fun time, I think.
I honestly think it's the next movie that people are going to rediscover that is actually a lot better than we thought. Like, it's the quintessential bad 90s action movie. Like, everything about it, from the soundtrack, from the way everyone looks, is so 90s. The bad CGI surfing with the shark.
Oh, fucking surfing. Peter Fonda surfing on the fucking turnpike. I love it.
Like, it's the bad 90s CGI that's equivalent to the 50s guy in a rubber suit with the zipper scene on the back. Like, it's just an obvious effect, but there's something kind of quaint and charming about it now.
Speaking of the 90s and movies like that, you know what movie it always reminded me of? It could be the time period of how old I was, but it's the whole vibe. The Super Mario Brothers movie. It's that same fucking wacky looking, just cheap effects, and I don't know why they reminded me of the same, but that movie, it's a lot of fun, and it's not classic Carpenter, because it doesn't have that 70s, 80s Carpenter vibe. That's gone. It's got that 90s cheap, pretty much Onward, because Carpenter never really recaptured that. That was gone.
He's just at best made serviceable movies. Like, I would say After They Live, like, after that, like, a decent Carpenter later film is like the equivalent to a great one in his early career.
No, yeah, exactly.
Like Vampires, at least it's Ghost of Mars.
Ghost of Mars and Vampires are hand in hand with like the cheesiest fucking movies you could possibly watch. But they're good. They're entertaining.
We're definitely jumping. Ghost of Mars is fucking horrible.
I like it.
Oh, you like that movie?
Yeah, it's entertaining, dude.
Piece of shit movie. Wait, Clark, you don't?
I don't like Ghost of Mars, but I like and my like defense of Vampires would be it's an entertaining movie. Like, it's just fucking cool that they like stake a vampire and drag him outside. That's a fucking cool thing, you know, where they
I like Vampires
zip
better.
line and you know, drag him out the front door into the sun, like little shit like that. Like, no, that's fun world building.
Vampires has a cool idea, and it's got fun casting with James Woods. He's always likable.
Is it Baldwin?
The fucking one? Billy Baldwin, the fat Baldwin, the worthless Baldwin.
I think that's kind of redundant.
He's the Baldwin that was in fucking Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man fucking movie. They were dilettantes. What?
You jumped over the second best Stephen King adaptation, which is
Well,
Christine.
we're jumping all over the place at this point, River. We didn't finish fucking Escape from L.A. and I got to put my stamp on that. Was that movie supposed to be? Was that intentionally a parody on itself?
I think it was.
Because it's not. It's a different tone than the first one.
It's so ridiculous and cartoony. Like Bruce Campbell as the LA surgeon, and like just kind of commenting on that, like LA has just become this wasteland of fucknoids.
And it's just, and you got Steve Buscemi as the Map to the Stars guy that ends up selling him out, and you got Pam Grier as the transvestite.
Yeah.
It's just the old one was more of a the Escape from New York had fucking Isaac Hayes in it, for God's sakes. It had this entire vibe going for it in the whole era. But I love it. You should really give it another shot, River.
Going back to what you said about like okay, the first one, how you feel like the second one feels different. I think the first one's written and made with kind of like a love for that gritty New York violence, and like Escape from New York loves New York City. Escape from LA fucking hates LA.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, yeah, they really do. Like they just like this
LA.
toilet's gonna get washed away.
Yeah.
Let's throw all this shit on this toilet. Yeah. Oh, it's got the single best scene in cinematic history when Snake's playing basketball for his life.
Oh yeah.
I fucking love that. Do you not remember that, River?
No.
God, and it's the same thing. It's like everything's sort of parallel to the first one. You know, he's got to fight that big oaf in the first one, and you got
and you got Ernest Borgnine and Steve Buscemi in the first and second one. It's very similar.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot to mention. The first one has Harry Dean Stanton, one of my favorite character actors ever. But yeah, there's a lot of parallels in this movie, and I don't think the villain in this one's as cool as the Duke, as Isaac Hayes. But no, it's got all those same things. And like I said, he's got the poison or the venom in him or whatever. It's sort of parallel, but it's a lot of fun, and the character is just a blast. And any video game guys out there, I mean, it's pretty obvious. He influenced Solid Snake. All right, same type of guy. But now we can jump all over the place because we fucking forgot They Live. It's not that we forgot it.
No, we're just going back.
We're just going all over the place. But They Live, we don't have to spend too much time on. But God, by all accord, that's a C movie, but it's a good movie. You don't like They Live?
No, I love They Live. I don't know why you're calling it a C movie.
No, I mean, I'm not saying I think it's a C movie on my personal grade. I'm saying like society would call it a C movie. It's like the campiness. It's very fucking very Ed Woodish, very fucking 1950s, and body snatchers, pod people, that whole deal.
Yeah.
And no, I love it. And for him to cast Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Don't you say nothing bad about Hot Rod.
I'm not saying nothing bad about Hot Rod. I just think that in 1988 he could have probably cast a lot more people, but why he went with him, I'm not too sure. It worked out.
I love Keith David too, man.
Keith David's
still
awesome.
great, yeah.
He's awesome in that. The film's great. It's got a lot of really cool lines. I mean, we could quote those for hours. And it's got the infamous fight scene between him and Keith David that lasts like an hour. Mm-hmm. That South Park brilliantly reenacted to
It's shot for shot. Right?
shot for shot the T. But that's a great movie. I love all those throwbacks.
I would say that They Live is actually the movie that's had the most cultural impact in a weird way, because it's like They Live is what inspired Shepard Fairey. He's the street artist who does like the Andre the Giant Obey shit.
Oh, okay.
Like the imagery that was in They Live of the advertising saying Obey and shit like that influenced Shepard Fairey, who in turn like is kind of like the head of the crest of the wave of like street art and like subversive art, like flipping propaganda and advertising on its head. Like I feel like that movie has had a kind of a greater impact in influencing people in looking at advertisement, like who saw that at an impressionable age. Like I don't trust advertising because of that fucking movie. Because I saw that movie when I was 9 years old, and I'm like, fucking ads are bad.
Yeah. It's got a very obvious social commentary about it, really on the nose. Kind of like your Dawn of the Dead thing, the consumerism, the advertising thing.
It's on the nose, but it's a good trope.
No, it's a good trope. And I don't know. Rowdy Roddy Piper, man. He's one of those guys. He's kind of a crazy motherfucker. And if you ever get to meet him, he just seems like the type of dude like you'd want to have lunch with, like talk for an hour, because he's got like endless stories.
He seems like a guy you'd want to have lunch with at a restaurant and not at your house or his house.
Yeah.
Like you'd want to have a meal with him if you could leave at any moment.
Yeah, my buddy in Ireland, man, has a castle, and he invited him over to talk about a film project because he's a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd want to know where I live, but because he looks fucking office Gorder, man. He goes to those conventions still wearing the fucking kilt too, leather jacket. But anyway, that's a great one. I never saw Prince of Darkness. I'm guilty of that. Who here has seen Prince of Darkness with Donald Pleasance?
Never seen that one.
Never saw it. Well, then I regret even bringing it up. But I don't know. I know people that say it's awesome. Does that count? But I want to see it. Donald Pleasance. I hear it's a real dry burn.
Yeah.
A real slow.
That just Scream Factory just put a blue out of that.
They put that out. Scream Factory's on top of their game, man. They're treating all those old Carpenters really, really well. Other than that, we talked about the shit. We talked about Ghost of Mars. We talked about vampires, sort of your mass stuff.
We didn't talk about Christine yet.
Christine, another movie starring John Travolta, which he wasn't in.
Oh, John Travolta's not in that.
Wait.
It has.
Yes, he is. No, wait, that was Carrie.
It has.
Carrie, dude.
Kelly Preston,
No.
John Travolta's wife.
It has the dude from Back to School who played Rodney Dangerfield's son.
Okay.
Yeah, Kelly Preston's in it too.
It had Kelly Preston. That's John Travolta's wife.
Yeah.
John Travolta was in Carrie. Kelly Preston was in that. Give me a fucking break. But yeah, okay. I've seen Christine a couple of times. What's your opinion on that, River?
Because movie's fucking great. I love this movie, dude. I could watch this once a week. I don't know. Just something about the whole rockabilly theme to it. I love, man. I do. It's cool, dude. The car's awesome. I don't know. There's something about it, like this, like Maximum Overdrive, like films like that, are just.
Maximum Overdrive has its problems. We're not on the Stephen King retrospective.
Hey, but those are good, like Saturday, Sunday afternoon movies. Like you just sit back and just relax to. It's really entertaining. It's probably my second favorite adaptation of Stephen King.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually a fun conversation. I really don't want to.
First one, of course, would be The Shining, but
that's a whole different
That's
topic.
not a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, that's pretty different.
Well,
but I mean, I'm like the majority of fans that fucking love Kubrick's vision of The Shining.
I like Kubrick's vision, but
I understand why King's pissed about it.
I understand too.
There's no arc, you know. It's like Jack Nicholson was crazy out of the fucking gate.
Like when he goes to the Overlook Hotel, you're like, "Where's my excuse to kill my fucking family?" Like
Yeah.
he's already at that edge.
On the drive up.
Yeah.
He's fucking short wire.
He's telling his kid about the Donner Party. Like, yeah, they fucking hate each other.
Yeah, and he fucking has a history of hitting and the alcoholism and hitting his kid. I mean, obviously in the book, yeah, he wanted to see that arc.
Kubrick
This guy
did
that
it
was
right,
really
though. Kubrick
wholesome.
did
The
it
thing
right.
about the Shining book, the whole time when you're reading it, you're just hoping like Jack Torrance can like get it together and do the right thing, and like you care about that family. At least I did when I read it so much that it's like I would almost want him not to kill his family, but he's got to do it.
It's got to happen. Well, and like I said, not to stay on this topic too long, but as King put it, Kubrick was a skeptic to the paranormal.
Yeah.
And he said that showed through on the final product. He's like, if the filmmaker who's delivering this doesn't believe, your audience isn't going to believe. And so his movie, had an overtone of the supernatural, but it was more about the people and, his descent and his personal issues and all that shit. Whereas, Stephen King, if you haven't written any of his books, he's very on the fucking nose.
Oh, he's always on that.
Weird shit. There's literally not a whole lot of deep thought. Like, what could this mean? No, it's paranormal. It's a weird, fucking crazy ass, whatever. I mean, they came at a project in different directions, and they're both good.
Yeah,
Stephen
Kubrick
King-
did it right, but
Stephen King puts a lot of really weird, unnecessary sex in his books. Like really awkward sex.
That's why I liked it when I was a kid.
Right. You love that scene. You love that scene in the It book when the two boys are in the fucking junkyard jerking each other off.
Well, that was not my favorite.
I'm just saying, like, I was reading this, like, I want to ask him what this has to do with the plot. I mean, we already know that this character, the bully, is fucking kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We get it. I don't need to see him jerking off, teaching each. This is weird. This is making me feel awkward, and I'm reading this alone.
I forgot about all that shit.
I'm reading this alone, and I feel very awkward. I want to go to church, but no. Stephen King is for another time. That would actually be a really fun conversation because if anybody's, he's had the most adaptations than fucking anybody, man, and a lot of shit and a lot of good stuff. But as far as this Carpenter rounding out, we nailed almost all the big ones. We started off talking about Big Trouble in Little China, and I don't know. I hope the remake. I mean, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. It's like the whole. It's Hollywood culture. I'm a huge Clive Barker fan. I'm a huge Hellraiser fan. Actually, the original Hellraiser is tops for me probably in the horror because it's just if you take a movie like that and it was standalone. And no sequels came after it. That's fucking cold. That is such a good story, well written, well directed. You know, I have to sort of give a pass to all the, because they lose the rights to this stuff. The people that give them the money, whatever, they have the name, and they're gonna milk it if they have a hit on their hands. But they're gonna do it regardless. So, and in the case of something like Hellraiser, it's like, if they're gonna fucking do it, please just don't fuck it up. So, I mean, if they're gonna do Big Trouble in Little China, it's gonna happen. It's not like me saying.
I just don't have to see it. I've gotten at the point where with these remakes, if I have no interest, I just don't fucking see them. So it's like, I don't give a shit about remakes anymore.
Yeah.
Because my fandom doesn't dictate what I need to see, especially when it's like a shitty remake like Evil Dead.
I have become numb to it because we've had so many now. It's like you're just so used to it. I mean, when they're remaking movies like Black Christmas, when they're digging that deep into a vault, it's like, oh, all right. Nothing surprises me anymore. And this guy's trying to bait me over here by bringing up Evil Dead because that's just River and I have talked about it a lot. Just go through the archives. We fucking hate Evil Dead or whatever. The Evil Dead. It's a fucking horrible movie, but like I said, it doesn't affect how I feel about the original Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or any of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, just don't make a shitty sequel like Dumb and Dumber 2. Then you'll affect how I fucking liked the source material.
Or Hot Tub Time Machine 2. Oh my god,
I didn't see that bullshit.
Horrible.
I didn't see that bullshit. But John Carpenter, to wrap it all up, he's all but retired. Like I said, he did The Ward in 2010, and before that, he did a couple anthology Masters of Horrors, like 5 years prior. Has he retired? Has there been an official word on that?
He's older than dirt, though. He's up there with Romero.
Have you ever listened to a Carpenter commentary?
No, actually not.
If you made a drinking game where you took a shot every time you heard him light a cigarette, you'd be dead by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Dude smokes like a chimney, and every 5 minutes is always just lighting a cigarette. This dude.
He looks like he smells like cigarettes, like an ashtray.
He totally looks like he smells like cigarettes.
Well, kind of like George Romero looks like he smells like fucking mothballs. He looks like he reeks of mothballs.
With those giant rimmed glasses, look like that motherfucker in Up.
This is 2015. He can get some stylish looking frames with that prescription. He's got to just wear these up. Yeah, this is fucking Ed Asner. But whatever.
and this is one conversation that we differ because I take Romero over anybody as a director.
Okay, so before you go to there, we're wrapping up here, and we keep touching on these topics that would make other good chats. But I will say one thing because I always got the last word. I'm fucking like that. Okay, Romero. I know how you feel about Romero. Romero, he did Dawn of the Dead. I know it's talked about a lot. I fucking love Dawn of the Dead. It's amazing. I'm not as big a fan as Day of the Dead.
What about Night of Living Dead?
Night of the Living Dead, dude, it's one of those things. It's like a Halloween. You gotta respect what it did. It showed, no, it's not as watchable today as like Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead's the most timeless, but
Would you rather watch Halloween or Night of the Living Dead?
Halloween.
I'd rather watch Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, the original Night of the Living Dead?
Yes.
Okay. I think Halloween's aged a little bit, but like I said, Night of the Living Dead is ahead of its time. The stuff that he was doing. The violence that he was showing for the day, he showed boobies. It was crazy.
Was there a dong in that movie?
A zombie dick.
Here's one thing, really quickly, quick sidebar. I'm sorry. Think about The Walking Dead, which they try to make all the decomposition accurate. It's not accurate because if there were really walking, rotting corpses, all their pants would have fallen down. all the zombies, their pants would be down at their ankles because their waist would have shrunk and their pants would have fucking fall. There'd be zombie dick everywhere on that show if it was really realistic. I know they can't do that because it's television, but if they really wanted accurate, zombie dick everywhere.
Fucking Chandler Riggs, we walk into the woods and you just see stray zombie dicks that had fallen.
Like a nut that's fallen out of the sack, like just fucking swigging there. Like, oh, it'd be so brutal if they went that way.
Now, I wonder what these zombie dicks look like, obviously having no blood in them. Like, would they just, like, shrunk it up? Or would you be able to tell the races?
Be innies.
Like, oh, there's Morgan's dick. There's Tyrese's dick. Oh, there's...
Well, I'm sure you can tell Tyrese's dick.
There's
from
Steve
any of them.
Young's dick.
Don't talk about Tyrese. That wound is still fresh.
We run. I don't know if you saw it, but we run. We've been doing a Walking Dead podcast for the duration of the series. And believe me and River bitch about it because it's like, what do we get ourselves into? We have to finish what we start. But it's still a lot of fun because we end up we're brutally honest about it. And that fucking Tyrese death, that was the most dramatic.
Tyrese is my favorite character
Really?
on the show. He was my point of view character, like the character that I'm like in this zombie world. Like I'd be fucking not scared to kill the zombies, but like probably too good at it. And I feel like Tyrese was he always knew that if he let himself, he could lose himself to the world. So he was always afraid to take that step. That's why he was always like, "We can't do it, Rick."
Well, I can say this.
Better way to do it, Rick.
From season 3 until season 5, that motherfucker was eating good.
Yeah.
He got fatter and fatter. It's like, this is the zombie apocalypse. They're paying you. AMC is paying you. We're not asking you to lose weight. We're not getting that real because no one else is losing weight around here.
Yeah.
Maybe Rick. But you can't gain weight. People are going to start wondering where you're getting the booty, where you're getting this. But anyway, John Carpenter, just to finish it all off, gun to the head, your favorite Carpenter movie, starting with you, River.
The Thing.
The Thing. Clark.
Probably Big Trouble.
Big Trouble.
It's the one that I'll rewatch the most because it's just always enjoyable. Like from start to finish, any one scene in that movie, it's enjoyable. If it's on, I'll watch it. I'll just throw it on. It's the one I probably watch the most, so I say that's my favorite one.
It appeals to kids the most too. I loved it as a kid. Very fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's got awesome characters.
You got awesome practical effects. The Beholder.
They should have had toys. I don't think they ever made toys for that.
Well, then you got the Funko React. And,
Did they?
And there's what are those fucking bullshit that everyone that's at every con with a little
bobblehead thing. Those are the Funkos.
Yeah, the Funkos. Yeah, the Funkos of those and all that.
I mean, it's just got, it screams, hey, let's merchandise this because it's got lovable characters. It's kind of like, what they did. It's like fucking something out of the Toxic Avengers, the Toxic Crusaders, or whatever, that old cartoon. But no, so if you ask me, I'm gonna say The Thing also, but it's tough. It's really close to an Escape from New York because I do think Snake Plissken is the greatest character he ever wrote. And so if we could somehow just get him... Can you imagine Snake Plissken in Halloween? That would have been a different movie. Snake Plissken versus Michael Myers. Let's just put him in all of them. Snake Plissken in Ghosts of Mars and Vampires. I'd love him to be the protagonist in every movie.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's in Starman. He's like, it's a fucking alien, kill it.
But... John Carpenter, man, he's a legend. You don't have a career as storied and long as his without a few missteps. So it's like, I'm not as big a fan as I am directors as I am the films. No one's got a perfectly clean slate, but he's got a nice stack of really good films. But yeah, it was really cool talking about him. I want to thank everybody. Thank Clark, man. Clark came in.
Hey,
thanks, Clark.
Clark's a nerd. Riverman here's a humongous horror guy. Like, I'm a humongous horror guy, but Riverman, his fucking river runs deep. Like he runs real deep with like exploit. Okay, you're an exploitation buff. That's where I've learned from him on that. Yeah. Like I've grown with him on that. All the fucking old Hammer films and fucking black exploitation, the car exploitation. He's been my growing thing for that. But no, man, you guys would get along great. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully we're back again and we do, we kind of already touched on it, man. Stephen King will be fun to
That'd
talk
be sweet, man. We should do a Stephen King one.
Okay, wait. Stephen King, it would have to be the adaptations.
Yeah, adaptations.
Yeah. Because I don't know who has the time to read fucking 10 books a year. We can't do the books. And Clive Barker would be awesome. Clive Barker would be it'd be way
I would love to talk Candyman. Candyman's an underrated movie.
I fucking love that. Todd does not like Candyman. That's a great fucking talk right there. We already divisive.
Nightbreed.
Nightbreed's awesome.
Nightbreed's a great movie.
And it's not what you think. It's a movie. It goes in a way. It's very Clive Barker.
That movie puts me to
Think
fucking
you've never
sleep.
seen it?
Man. It puts me to sleep.
It does drag. That's a movie that's perfect for a remake. It's an imperfect movie with a great concept. And if they just executed it better, it's the perfect. They should remake that before they should even think of going near Pinhead.
Let's do a Cronenberg. We talk about like Videodrome. I mean, he has tons of shit.
There's too many, but yeah, like one of those, man. And you know what? It's like I'm always torn really quick because it's like we could have just as easily did a Halloween talk about all the shitty Halloweens, but I think it was cool to sort of just kind of cover the main bases within a Carpenter retrospective.
Yeah.
And I would probably do the same thing in a Clive Barker, just because I don't want to talk for days.
We don't need to talk.
I don't want to talk for
Midnight Train, and
I don't want to talk for days on Hellraiser, Hellseeker, but I would like to go over Hellraiser. I like Midnight Meat Train. I thought the novella.
It's not bad.
I like Clive Barker's short stories. I fucking love short stories because that's just my patience these days. It's perfect. My attention span.
Yeah, the novella of Hellraiser is.
Oh, it's great. I have it.
Good.
I love it. He's coming out with the Scarlet Gospels. It's releasing any time now, and it's a giant ass novel, and it's the start and the end of Pinhead, and supposedly really quick. That's what he's going to do. Like if he ends up taking the production credit for the remake, it's like we're going to do it. We'll call it Hellraiser to appease them, but we're going to have this brand new movie. And
I do love Lord of Illusions though.
Lord of Illusions is fucking great.
Lord of Illusions is good. That has like
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula and that the fucking fat ass like bad dude,
The bad guy that wakes up and
They put that mask on him and shit.
Yeah.
So
Famke Janssen, a young Famke Janssen. But so I think it's settled, man. I think we got to do Clive next, man.
That's cool.
But anyway, thank you all. Make sure to check out btmreview.com and check us out on iTunes as well. And check out our slew of podcasts to give your ears a nice little treat. I've been Aaron.
Riverman.
This is Clark.
And you guys have all been great. Catch you next time. Bye.